Distinguished friends, it is my privilege to join numerous dignitaries in celebrating the luminous life and illustrious career of my revered Babai, late Professor G.V. Subramaniam Garu, widely known as GVS to the countless peers and pupils alike. Were he to be alive today, we would be joyously observing his 85th birth year. The very fact that all of us are recalling our glorious association with GVS even after nearly 15 years of his passing speaks a lot about his effervescent influence and everlasting inspiration. To me, Babai was many splendored personality that includes a highly respected scholar in varied branches of Telugu language and literature, a motivational mentor and educator, an outstanding orator, a purposive and prolific writer, an enthusiastic organizer of youth for culture, and last but not the least, a family icon. First, I will touch upon his intellectual imprint that is not just limited to Telugu literature but could gel well with other human science disciplines. I remember vividly the first time as a teenager I got to know him as a scholar when I laid my hand on his edited work Mahati, published on the eve of the 25th anniversary of India's independence. His essay on stunted growth of criticism as a literary tradition in that volume struck me for the poignant exposition on the attitudes and conditions that constrain constructive criticism in Telugu literature and society. Having known him closely afterwards, I can relate the stress in that essay on the prerequisites of modesty and self reflection to his own strong personal convictions. I dare say that these imperatives are lacking everywhere, not just in Telugu cultural and social setting, more so now. To fast forward my acquaintance with his writings, I wish to mention about one of his last publications which he presented to me in Delhi. He adeptly captured therein the trends in the 20th century literary criticism across the world. I was amazed to see Babai as a scholar willing and able to distill and disseminate the thoughts of great thinkers and philosophers of the Western and non Western, as well as liberal and the Marxist varieties from diverse societies with a view to underlining the unity and universality of literary processes. It is worthwhile to point out here that the comparative approach he put to use is akin to my own social science training that privileges open mind and eclecticism as prerequisites for excellence. Again, thanks to my recent retirement from Jawaharlal Nehru University, I had an opportunity to read his insightful Pitika for Andhra Mahabharatam's Drona Parvam, published some years ago by the Tirumala Tirupati Devasthanam. From a perspective as fellow academic, what is remarkable is the equal ease with which he traversed among subjects historical, contemporary, social, and spiritual speaks about his versatility. The variety and volume of his work, ranging from novels, poems, books, and lectures, not only mirrored a lifetime of perseverance and productivity that never compromised on quality. In the midst of the growing trend of rolling out routine and repetitive stuff in academic circles, I often envied his phenomenal publication track record endowed with originality of substance and style. Moreover, in my observation, not many can speak as well as they write. Babai mastered both the skill spheres. In both public lectures, his words flowed effortlessly, carrying both the sound that was soft and fragrance that was flowery. His words were always weighty, just as his thoughts were mighty. Yet He was not found wanting in using right words because right words came to him naturally. For his Yuva Bharati lectures in Hyderabad, some of which I had the fortune to attend, numerous admirers and students used to throng to hear him speak and throw themselves around after the mesmerizing speeches. If I had to confess, his style of speaking has been a chief motivation to me too, although I cannot claim coming anywhere close to his stature. In the family sense, the most important person to Babai was Pinni, without a doubt. I would even say that Babai's outstanding professional achievements were undoubtedly due to Pinni's untrammeled commitment to Babai through her involvement in homemaking. This gave Babai the requisite time to pursue and excel in his career. I would go further to take the liberty of characterizing Pinni as both the shadow and soul of Babai. That he was quite appreciative of the role Pinni played in his scholarly and creative journey is amply exemplified through the series of stories he penned in Susila Kathalu, first serialized and later brought out in a book form. I remember my parents too figured in those stories. I fondly cherish my sense of belonging to Pinni, for she was the main channel to get me to the benevolent attention of Babai during the period I was studying and working simultaneously in Hyderabad in late 1970s. Both of them were more than eager to bless those like me struggling to be self-made in life. When I left for JNU in Delhi to undertake doctoral research in international relations, he blessed that I would move from New Delhi to New York. Indeed, those prophetic words took me to New York several times in my career. Clearly, after my parents, it is to Babai and Pinni I am eternally grateful for their incomparable confidence and encouragement. Baba embodied a fine blend of tradition and modernity in his personal and professional dealings. One could easily notice him showing due deference very diligently to his parents and other elders like my parents in both deeds and words. At the same time, he treated youngsters and junior colleagues with dignity and generosity. This applied to all of us, especially his children, their spouses, and of course Pinni. In a nutshell, Baba's personality was marked by disarming simplicity and civility. Baba and the whole family visited Delhi to receive an award from the Central Sahitya Academy in 1987. At his instance, I had put his thoughts for the award acceptance speech in English. It is in that speech he announced his noble intention to use the award money for incepting a foundation to honor Telugu scholars annually. We had great time staying together those days, and I fondly recall how my 1-year-old son was pampered as their own grandchild. Baba's affection to me and my wife only grew further as he used to come and spend time with us whenever he traveled to Delhi on official work in different capacities, including as Vice Chancellor of Telugu University. In my humble recapitulation, Babai was not just great in attaining intellectual heights through sheer dint of determination and hard work, but he was also unique in being a good human at heart. He amalgamated the amazing mix of simplicity, sagacity, sobriety, tenacity, and modernity, which is a combination of tradition and modernity. These qualities are truly timeless. It is in pursuance and celebration of these attributes that my sister Lakshmi and her daughters are putting in commendable efforts to take to the present generation the varied work of Babai on the Foundation's website. I also warmly compliment the idea to institute an additional award in the name of Pinni and Babai together. This has come not a day late. I can only end by stating that I am proud to belong to GVS family and am grateful for the intellectual treasure trove he has left behind for us to take it forward individually and collectively.